Hey everybody, and welcome to the Multiverse Show, episode 1. Oh, no, not 100. Season 4, episode 4. Thank you guys for tuning in. Man, we can't catch a break. This apparently, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, this is real E3 week. This last, 1 week news cycle has been, this is the real E3 for us, because there's just been tons of news dropping left and right. Oh my gosh. We'll get into some of the stuff. As you guys know, we got Bethesda we're going to talk about. You guys can speculate whether or not I'm back on the Bethesda hype train or not. There's just so much stuff to cover there. You guys can ignore what it says there on the topics list. You already know what it's actually about. You guys are watching. But we're going to do our quick introductions for the squad here. First off, we have Mr. Fame Entertainment, the Titan of Texas. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, what's going on, folks? Happy to be here. Happy to talk some games. I am, like Anchor said, Fame Entertainment, and we got good stuff for you guys on tonight. And, yeah, buddy.
All right, and we also have the Chief of Achievements himself, Mr. Nicholas Downey, aka Undead3XVI.
Hey, glad to be here, and I'm totally not high on the marijuana.
All right, and we also have, our resident Caesar Cinema is taking a night off for the evening. We also have the Donna Deletion, Megaphone Mike P. The Truth.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Mike. Man, it's going to be a hype episode. I agree with you wholeheartedly. This feels like an E3 episode, man. Can't wait to get into this.
All right, and we also have the White Wolf himself, Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
Hey everybody, holy crap, I'll echo what everyone else has said here. This is the actual E3 episode. In late September. It took us long enough. It wasn't even in the summer games mess. Forget the summer, that's a write-off. But here in the fall, we're doing our E3 show because what we're going to talk about today has changed the industry forever and has never been done before. So let's get into it.
All right, so we got a couple things we got to do. So I'm Ivan Seiler from Anchorman V2, and we're going to get things rolling. But first off, as we ask every single week, what have you guys been playing? Let's go reverse order. Sam, what you been doing?
Man, yeah, I have played games. What have I totally been playing? I've been playing the Marvel's Avengers game because I got roped into doing it for content for the sites after I said I wasn't going to. I have mixed thoughts. I'm about to finish it, but if I had to summarize my opinion on it, I will say everything people thought was the case is still true. It's just that they forgot to advertise the fact they have an excellent campaign as well. That's basically what I would say. This is two games that have been soldered together, and it's very clear what Crystal Dynamics wanted to make and what Square Enix was forcing them to make. That's basically how I'd put it.
All right, fair enough. Mike, what you been playing, sir?
I've been playing a little bit of NHL 20. I have been playing some F1 2019 on Game Pass. Actually really, really good. I'm not an F1 fan, but the way that they do the the story and the interviews and stuff in the career mode is really well done. And the racing is very solid. So I've been playing that. Other than that, over the weekend, I did pick up the Mario All-Stars 3D collection for the Switch. So I did start playing that. I'm going through the games in chronological order. So I'm doing Mario 64, then I'm going to go through Sunshine, and then Galaxy. Really looking forward to getting the Galaxy and playing that again. That's my favorite game out of the bunch. It's one of the best platformers of all time as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. And Fame, what you been playing, sir?
I'm playing a couple of things. Number one, I got so many hours in Avengers. Trying to grind all my characters up to power 150. Black Widow was just so freaking amazing. And then another game I've been playing that I can't talk about this yet because of an NDA, but I can't wait. I think in a couple of weeks on the show, I can't talk about it because I have pooped on this game for so long. And now that I finally played it, I think I've changed my mind. And I've been having a lot of fun with that. But mostly Avengers and then a couple of things that I'm not supposed to talk about yet. But it's been fun.
All right, so cool stuff. All right, so real quick, we want to kind of go over some of the stuff that happened. First and foremost, real quick, Sam, I need you to take over the show for a second. I got a phone call coming in, but I need you to, just real quick, just wrap up the PlayStation event for us real quick as we kind of get into that. We'll talk about price later, but just give us the general broad strokes of what was shown for us real quick.
Yeah, so to be clear, in any normal week, this would be the topic of the episode in its entirety, but this isn't a normal week. So when I say I'm going broad strokes here, I am unfortunately going very broad strokes. PlayStation had a PS5 game showcase last week. It was, in my opinion, my personal opinion, very darn good. It was very well put together, very well edited. They showed lots of good, high-quality gameplay footage, confirmed that Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Demon's Souls, this was right after the show, they confirmed it. This wasn't in the show, are launch titles for the PS5. PS5 releases November 12th in a handful of countries and November 19th in a few other countries. Priced at $500 for the disc model, $400 for the discless. We'll talk a little more in depth about price later. They showed off a few other games, such as the long-rumored, leaked back in 2018 Hogwarts Legacy. That's a multi-plat. Looks really good if you're into Harry Potter. The developers are insisting that J.K. Rowling is not affiliated for some weird reason. Not sure why. Not going to get into that. They also showed off a mission from Call of Duty, announced the alpha for PS4 only players. A few other games got gameplay footage. Final Fantasy 16 was announced. It's a timed console exclusive for PS5. Looks really good if you're into Final Fantasy 15, like that one, because it's a little darker than that, a little more Western, but it seems to be taking more from 15 than from others. And yeah, those were the highlights. And after that, everything went totally well. Pre-orders went live the very next day, and there was no confusion at all.
Yeah. All right, real quick, just across the board, feel free to interject, everybody who's here. What'd you think about the show? Do you think it was good, bad, like just the show itself, nothing afterwards, just the show?
Just the show itself was great. I mean, if you just take the show in a vacuum and look at what they showed, I mean, Miles Morales looked great. I mean, you got the Demon's Souls looks great. I mean, the games that they showed look really, really good. So if you just look at the show and everything that they presented and ignore everything else, then I'd say it was pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the general sentiment, isn't it? Like overall,
yes,
the show, like if you don't look at it, I think it was a typical Sony showing. Blow the door off its hinges with the first thing, like with showing Final Fantasy and then going into all these other games, like in like Harry Potter and all this stuff. Like that was a like jaw-dropping stuff, but then like you have like the middling end part, and then like okay, something else at the end to kind of wrap it all up with like the price reveal in God of War. And I think the show itself was great to me. I don't know what you guys, but
yeah, no, the show was great. God of War was that slipped my mind because it was such a small teaser, but that was a hype moment. My coworkers asked if I was okay because I was melting down when that happened. I'm all in on God of War. They're saying 2021. I say BS unless it's a smaller Miles Morales type game, but I don't care. Like it's okay. Take till 2023 if you need. I am in on God of War. The 2018 game was one of the best games this generation. And going back to Demon's Souls for a moment, hot take. I think Bluepoint looked at what Capcom did with Resident Evil 2 Remake, and they said, okay, we got to up our game. We're going to have the best remake on the market.
yeah, I mean that does look really impressive. Thane, where you sit on this, man?
The show was absolutely amazing. I just love all the stuff we got to take from it, as far as we not necessarily need a PS5 this holiday, not until Ratchet and Clank comes out. Thought that was cool that, I get to play Miles Morales on my PS4, along with Horizon Zero Dawn, which will be Game of the Year, whatever year it actually decides to release. And I don't want to hear no crap about it from you or anybody else on this show, because it's going to be a great game. But it was a great show overall. That was no hiccup. They showed, great exclusive titles, whatever your definition of exclusive is. It was a typical Sony show. Pacing was great. They showed some big titles, some upcoming titles. I had no complaints. I was just happy that I get to play a lot of these games from my PS4.
Yeah, cool. Nick, where you at?
Yeah, I thought a lot of the games looked really cool. I am not paying $100 Canadian to torture myself with Demon's Souls. But yeah,
I'm doing it for you, to be clear.
I know. You guys are forcing my hand on this. yeah, the God of War teaser was really cool. Kind of knew it was going to be coming eventually. I'm not 100% sold on the 2021, but hey, it's 2020. You can't call out anything anymore. And yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales looked absolutely phenomenal. They need to clear up some messaging with that going forward, but I'm so excited for that game. It looks so good. And Miles with his different combat sets and the story they're presenting, it looks great. I'm so ready for more of that.
I think that is a general consensus from most people that the show was great from what they showed. Oh boy, but the ending there, that was interesting because not only did right after the show end and they announced the price of the PlayStation, there was just complete total chaos. So like, first of all, they announced the price of the PlayStation, like we said. If you haven't already heard, PlayStation 5, the standard edition is going to cost you $500 US. And then for the digital version, it's going to cost you $400 US. Pretty standard pricing. I mean, pretty much everybody here was somewhere in that ballpark. I don't think anybody in this particular group thought it was going to be $300. But yeah, 500, 400, somewhere in that mix. It just turns out what it happened to be. Other than that, afterwards, like I said before, everything else was just a total fiasco. We started getting more news from Jeff Keighley about the PlayStation 5 than Sony showed. We started like hearing about like, oh wait, pre-orders are live like an hour after the event. And we'll talk about that section a little bit later, but oh my gosh, never have I seen like a show completely neutered by all the sub things after the fact. Like we're at the point where I don't even care about what they showed anymore. Like some of the things that happened is they started showing off. They announced that Miles Bros is actually coming to PlayStation 4, and not just that, but they're remastering the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 game for PS5. I just like things that everybody here said that we thought this was just extended DLC. It was a standalone DLC type of game, and them making a remaster just confirms that to me, at least. I don't know about you guys, but that just confirms it to me.
And correct me if I'm wrong with this, in order to access the remaster, that's actually in the Ultimate Edition of Miles Morales, correct?
That is correct. It's in the $70 edition. Regularly, Miles Morales is $50. Insomniac has not said whether there will be an upgrade option for PS4 owners. They're avoiding the comment. And it's weird because they've come out and denied other things, or they've said other things. Like they've explicitly said, hey, you won't be able to take your save file over. Your save file does not transfer over from the PS4 game. Honestly, hot take, I'm okay with that. This has a completely new set of trophies. So I'm actually perfectly okay with that, and I understand why. They don't want people just immediately unlocking, the platinum if they platinum the first game and got everything. I get that. I'm okay with that. The implication is that if you're gonna get this, that you're actually gonna play through it again. I understand why some people would be disappointed, but that's a thing. And they've confirmed there will not be a physical release. This is a digital-only thing. They have not said you can purchase it separately. I would be stunned if you can. I would honestly be stunned. There's no way you're not purchased. Like, it can't be purchased separately. But they're avoiding the comment on whether or not, PS4 game owners can get a discount or get a free upgrade or whatever.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that seems like a lot of wasted money on the table to me. That it's like, oh yeah, like for only $20 more, you can get the remastered game. And it's like, why don't you sell that for at least $40 or something? I don't know. Just seems weird to me. So, other than that, anything else you guys want to add about the Miles Morales thing?
I'll have my hot take. I'm telling you right now, you're not getting a free upgrade because if your save file doesn't transfer, then I'm gonna say that you're not getting a free upgrade. Because if you can't transfer your save, that just screams volumes to me. Like, I'm happy about it because, like, even if this remaster happens, I'll buy it if it's $20 on a separate trophy list and everything else. But I think people definitely need to reduce any expectations of getting an upgrade for free.
Yeah.
Don't worry. When it comes out on PC, you'll get the free upgrade.
Exactly. And then you can buy Bloodborne Remastered for again on PS5.
Exactly.
We made a PC version for you.
There you go.
Yeah. Was it? We also got like the really strange news about PS4 that like a bunch of other games are coming out to PS4 that, oddly enough, we think shouldn't. Like Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Forbidden West. I can't imagine why they would have that come to PlayStation 4. It's not like it's at launch or anything.
You can't imagine? I can imagine.
We could imagine lots of things, like Bethesda getting bought up by Microsoft. So here we go. But it's just such a weird thing to do. Like, I always understand like that immediate initial holiday period, like last generation when they had Call of Duty Ghosts, Battlefield 4. Those were all cross-gen games, and it made sense at least because it was like, hey, well, we got this weird in-between period where like the game comes out in October and our consoles come out in November. we want to at least hit what we can. I understand. Man,
you got so many. I mean, the game's been in development for a little bit, and you got so many PS4 owners. It'd have been stupid not to. The game's set to come 2021. And I mean, you got to assume that they definitely want to. The game was, when it was being built and it was being development, it was being built for the PS4. I don't want to hear this being built 2 different builds and somebody else doing one. I don't want to hear that crap. That's not true. It's been built. It was. Think about it like a Halo Infinite situation. Halo Infinite was built for the Xbox One, and it's just in mind. And the same thing with Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, going after that, there can be a different story. And if Ragnarok, for some strange reason, comes out in 2021, I expect the same.
Now, see, it's funny because to me, I agree with what they're doing totally. From a business sense, this is the correct decision. There's over 100 million PS4 owners. They want as many people to buy this game as they possibly can. And they know not everybody's going to be able to get a PS4 at launch of the first year. I agree with them. But at the same time, it seems to be a shift in philosophy, because if you look back at the transition between PS3 and PS4, correct me if I'm wrong, but they really had no cross-gen exclusives.
I don't recall any. Because the big ones when they came out was Killzone Shadowfall.
A couple months later was Infamous.
Yeah.
Knack.
Resogun.
They didn't have any.
Yeah, they didn't really have any cross-gen stuff.
Them. I mean, they had remasters of Last of Us and God of War 3, but that doesn't really count. As far as like new exclusives, they didn't have anything cross-gen that I could recall, at least. So I mean, it is a little bit of a change in philosophy for them, I have to say.
So technically, there were a couple of ones. Little Big Planet 3 was cross-generation. That was one. You're right, there weren't many. However, I would also argue, Microsoft didn't have many either. They had Forza Horizon 2, and I'm struggling to think of anything else. I'm sure Titanfall, I suppose we can count that.
We're not counting double dips either. We're
not counting double dips. No, we're counting cross-gen games. The fact is, you have to keep in mind, however, it was a big architecture change. Last gen, we went from these weird custom architectures, egregiously so in Sony's case, still pretty bad in Microsoft's case, to the exact same x86 64 architecture. So it's a little different this time because these consoles, while vastly more powerful and better processors, SSDs and all that, it's the same architecture. It's a little different this time. I've gone on a couple of rants. I wrote something about this, my opinion, so I don't want to retread too much ground, but I will basically say, business-wise, I understand why Sony has done this. Totally fine with it. Games-wise, as I want to play these games, I'm very disappointed about Forbidden West because Guerrilla Games themselves have said that the PS4 held back what the features they wanted to include in Zero Dawn, like co-op or riding Stormbirds. They're not going to magically include it this time around. So it means that we're... Go ahead, Fame. Go ahead.
No, you good. I was going to mirror what you were saying. No, you good, brother. Go ahead.
Oh, so I'm just going to say, look, I'm with Fame. I'm a Horizon brother on that. Okay, when that game comes out, I'm in on it. Forbidden West still looks great, but they didn't magically overcome those issues. It is still at its heart going to be a PS4 game. I do find that disappointing. And that's all I have to say.
Therein lies that issue with Horizon Zero Dawn was like they themselves wasn't fan speculation or rumors, they themselves said that the PS4 limited them. So the fact that they're going to continue with the PS4, so I can't ride on a Stormbird, that's some bull.
Yeah,
And it's very possible the next God of War might be on PS4 too. We just don't know.
That's what I'm saying. If it's really 2021, that thing been in production, and it was been in production for the PS4.
And that is the monster that Sony has unleashed now, is if they say, oh yeah, it's coming to PS5, people are going to say, okay, but are you telling the truth? I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because, like I said, I wrote about it, but I really wish they had been upfront about this. I'm very disappointed them not doing so.
What we're talking about here, like for the last few months, like Sony has been extremely vocal about saying, no, we believe in generations. That's the meme statement. We believe in generations. We're not doing any of this support for PlayStation 4. Like we are going all out for PlayStation 5. And then they came out basically on that event and just said, yeah, all those games you were expecting in the next year, they're coming to PlayStation 4 too. Just with a few exceptions at this point.
But why are they still lying about Demon Souls, trying to say it was a mistake?
So yeah,
it's coming to PC.
Here's the thing about the Demon Souls thing that other people aren't figuring out. So what happened is that during the event, we didn't hear anything about Demon Souls. We thought it was a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Cool, it's good to go. Then on their YouTube channel, they uploaded a trailer. At the end of the trailer, they had the final title card, and it says under there's a caveat section. It's like, oh, PlayStation 5 exclusive. Then underneath it, it says coming to other consoles later. Coming to PC at launch, something along those lines. And everyone was like, wait, what? This game is not even exclusive? They found, so they pulled the trailer, so everyone's asking for a statement. The only statement Sony has said about Demon Souls has been, it was a mistake, we didn't mean to put out that title card in the trailer. They're not saying the information's wrong, they're just saying that the fact that they divulged that information early is wrong. Which would actually make a lot of sense because in terms of the IP itself, if I'm correct, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Sony only has the rights to the IP. They don't have the publishing rights. Bandai Namco has that, I believe.
I believe so, but that is not 100%. Feel free to correct me, anyone listening, if I'm wrong on that. But I believe you're right.
It's a weird situation where if Sony wanted to make it, they can go ahead and make it. They just don't get to choose what system it goes on. So it's one of those things of well, all of our people are asking for us to make this game, but if we make it, it can go anywhere. What do we do? So they probably just made a deal just so that it had at least timed exclusivity of some sort. But Bandai Namco is going to want to put that as many consoles as they possibly can. So they'll take a look and see there. But that's such a weird scenario for Sony because in the past Sony doesn't really lie. They just omit truth. They just won't tell you certain things and rely on the vagueness to sell whatever it is. Like they'll say, oh yeah, this game's exclusive right now, which is not lying. It is exclusive at that moment, but it comes to other systems later. They just don't tell you that part. Is what they do. It's not lying per se. The only problem is this time we actually got into a situation where Sony lied, just blatant lied itself. So over the summer, Insomniac could put out the thing saying, "Oh," because people were asking, "Oh, is this gonna be Spider-Man Miles Morales? Is this a exclusive game? Is it gonna be is it a remaster? Is this DLC? What is it?" And they came out and said this is a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Not being developed for anything else. It's developed from the ground up for PlayStation 5. And now if you try to find those tweets, they've deleted all of them. Now it's saying, oh, well, it's coming to PlayStation 4 too. So now we're in a situation where we can't really trust Sony directly anymore. That's kind of a problem. And so, I don't know. Do you guys still think you can trust Sony at all?
Nobody, man.
To be, from a reporting standpoint, running their words under a microscope and then that microscope under a microscope. That's the way I'll put it right now.
I think that's a really good way of putting it. And it's funny to me, kind of like the role reversal that's going on, because if you think back to the Xbox One and the PS4 launch, it was Sony that had the very clear, concise messaging. This is how much it costs. You're not going to have a 24-hour online check-in. You could play used games. You could trade games with your friends. And their messaging was on point. Xbox were the ones that were really confused, but now those roles seem to be reversed going into this coming gen. And it's just interesting to see. I do agree with what you say, Sam. Every time when Sony comes out with a piece of news or a piece of information, like, I'm going to be going over that with a fine-tooth comb, because I'm not going to say that I don't trust them. You just can't take it at face value, if that makes sense.
Yep. Well said.
Where you at on this, Nick? Do you trust them blindly, or where are you at?
They're a company. They're going to tell you what you want to hear at the time that they want to tell you it's available. It's very interesting to see all this shuffling that's been happening over at Sony over the past year and a half, and slowly watching their messaging get worse, and worse. And I'm really starting to believe when we were seeing those rumors of the things like PlayStation, like their American arm was not talking and communicating well with their European arm of the company. I think that's really becoming transparent, because the messaging across the board has been rather rough as of lately. And it's something I hope they iron out over the next little while, because they have a lot of goodwill. They've made a lot of great games. They've done a lot of good things. And I think when PlayStation was under Sean Layden's lead, it was a company that you could really trust, understand, and always know exactly, like, this was the company that came out and said, hey, we could have released God of War in a certain state, but no, we pushed it back because Cory Barlog says he can deliver us a better game later. That's a company that's been very transparent and clear, and to see them shift into the almost 2016, 2015 marketing style of Microsoft is very disheartening. And I just hope that after these most recent missteps that they learn from it, take the feedback from it. And hey, they apologize for the whole pre-order situation. And I have never, ever seen Sony PlayStation ever publicly apologize for something. So I think they realize they can't put their foot in their mouth with some stuff. And I think they just need to go about answering those questions in a clear and concise manner going forward.
As a well-orchestrated, planned response, I'll go with that. I don't know. For me personally, it's like, again, like we've been saying before, fine-tooth comb. I'm just, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's kind of my mentality on it. Real quick, because do you have anything else you guys want to talk about Sony before we move on to the big news today?
Still getting the PS5. Demon's Souls at launch. Yeah, boy.
I will get a PS5 at launch if I could find a discless one. Yeah, boy.
That's one of the things that's interesting. If you look at it, the allocation, it seems, for the digital version is like next to nothing, it seems.
So at my EB Games, they were allocated a whopping 5 PS5s, and they weren't allocated any digitals for pre-order. So you can imagine how many people were pissed off. That was first wave. They're getting another wave soon, whatnot, whatever the case may be. But I saw a really good tweet. I can't remember who it was from, and I feel bad because it was someone from the industry. But someone said, of course, that they're going to preload the premium models front heavy, because the people that buy day one are mega fans and everything else. So that's where you're going to make your most bang for your buck, and they'll have tons of the lower end models for launch day, which makes a whole ton of sense.
Which made me think about that too, actually. If you're a PlayStation, well, so, okay, first of all, if you're an in-store retailer, you have no incentive whatsoever to sell that digital version, because outside of the initial sale and maybe a few accessories, you're not getting a penny in terms of resale value or used game sales. So part of me is like, okay, did GameStop and other places even want to have this unit? Like, so that they say,
no.
don't give us that, or is it entirely Sony?
I think it's both. If I can interject quickly, Ivan, I honestly think it's somewhere in the middle, because on the one hand, yeah, it makes more sense to sell the higher end model at launch because, you know, you lose less money, enthusiasts, blah, blah, blah. But also, GameStop and Best Buy know that when they sell those things, they're losing you as a customer because you're buying digital games. So they're not exactly going to be thrilled at stocking them either. It's both.
And
that's one of the things that...
But if you're Sony, in this case, this is the part I've been thinking about lately, and I haven't heard anybody else will talk about it yet. If you're Sony and the unit you're taking a big loss on is that digital version, why not just make it non-existent? Say, oh, you get them in the doors saying, oh, it's $399. Mom and dad goes up to the counter and say, give me that $399 PlayStation 5. And they say, don't have any. You want to buy a $500 one? And so that's my thing is, if that's the unit you're taking the loss on, say it's $399, barely make any, at least for now. So you get to have the buzz marketing for $399, they starting at $399, but then afterwards you don't really have to worry about it. Like, you're not taking a huge loss because no one's buying it yet. You're not producing as much of it yet. I could see an incentive for Sony not to make that many until later, until the price of goes down for development. That's my... Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, kind of going off what you said, Sam, this is what I was asking you about in the chat a couple days ago. With this whole fiasco with the pre-orders, where Sony said it was going to go live the day after the event, and a lot of these retailers broke that street date and they started taking pre-orders that evening. That was one of my questions. Like, is that Sony? Is that the retailers? Is that a little bit of both? Because that's kind of odd to see that, especially for Sony and PlayStation. Because if you think about other companies in tech, like for Apple, no retailer would dare break the street date that Apple gives them for pre-order. So that was kind of odd for me to say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was mostly retailers, and Sony moving forward is probably going to put their foot down a lot harder. It seems like Walmart broke the street date first, and everyone else it caused an avalanche of panic, is what it seems like. Moving forward, Sony will take a stronger approach. I've heard from multiple sources, and Jeff Keighley has said this on Twitter, that Microsoft is actually taking a very strict approach, giving less stock to retailers initially, and saying, hey, if you dare, we're not restocking you. Or not as much anyways. Like, we will stranglehold the allocations. So, we'll see. Interesting times.
It's true. So, anything else about Sony before we move on to Xbox?
Let's go.
Take that silence as a no. Let's get into the good news. So, a little bit of news in the preface to kind of give you an idea of what's been going on over the summer as we took our break. There's some things that did happen. Back in June, we had a event with PlayStation where we saw Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. At those events, we had an announcement that those games would be timed exclusives on PlayStation 5, which was a big deal for two reasons, namely. One, it shored up Sony's lineup because honestly, the in terms of actual PlayStation 5 exclusives, it's pretty weak right now. And having Deathloop in there coming out at launch or in that launch window would have been a big help to them. Other than that, Ghostwire Tokyo isn't supposed to come out until next year, I believe, and we don't really have a firm date on that. So that was a big deal. And not only that, the second reason was because Bethesda, who does not do these exclusive deals, had agreed to do it. Never had seen that before. And I, as the big Bethesda guy between here, Tick, and everywhere else on the internet, this was a very big deal. It got me to the point where I was like, I'm done fanboying for Bethesda. I'm done. Namely because I just am so tired of people trying to justify a terrible deal when Bethesda has stayed above it this entire generation. By far, they've been absolutely great. They've supported every real random little venture everybody's wanted to do. When VR came out, they made VR games for PlayStation. When Game Pass came out, they put their games on Game Pass. They did all this great stuff for every single person and every single platform as available. They've even ported Wolfenstein and Doom over to the Switch. Like they went all out to support all these platforms, and to see them take an exclusive deal was a big no-no for me. I couldn't believe they did it. And so I renounced Bethesda back then. But today, I woke up a little before 9 o'clock, take a look on Twitter. I see a crazy headline that Xbox has bought Bethesda. First thing I check is this one of those fake accounts that's been floating around saying like just random stuff like Insomniac games or Naughty Dog? There's random stuff like that. I wanted to take a look, just make sure it was real. I see it's Phil Spencer who tweeted it. I'm like, huh. Lo and behold, as of today, Microsoft has bought Bethesda, all their studios, all their franchises. Sam, is that like 6 new studios? 6 or 7 now?
New studios, and that doesn't count teams that have more than one studio. That's just like counting Arcane as one, even though Arcane has 2 studios. That's counting id Software as one. That's counting Bethesda as one, even though they have 4.
Yep.
Really, when you actually consider how many studios it is, I think I did the math, and it is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's actually 13 when you count how many individual studios there are.
How many studios did Microsoft have before this?
They had 15 before this.
So they almost doubled?
Yeah, 15. Important to include this, $7.5 billion in cash. No stock options, no trading, no, in cash. That is 3 times what they paid for Minecraft / Mojang Studios. That is almost twice, just shy of what Disney paid for Marvel and for Star Wars put together.
Yeah, because wasn't Star Wars like $4 billion?
Star Wars and Marvel were $4 billion each. Yep.
Yeah. Man.
I'm reminded of a Jay-Z lyric off the Kingdom Come album where he went, "I don't buy the bar, I buy the night spot."
Yes, sir.
Microsoft just said, "I don't buy timed exclusives. I buy the whole fucking publisher."
So a good friend of mine, Justin, tweeted, and I agree with him. He says, every time a Japanese game skips Xbox, Phil buys a Western RPG studio.
Man.
I just would like to say that I started the Tweet Like Foxy challenge, and I tweeted like Foxy next week that something will happen this week, and something happened. Just putting it out there.
I know, man.
There you go.
But also, I will say this: the crap gamer curse is real.
Continues, baby.
Oh man, is it?
He literally made a video like a couple weeks ago saying Sony's gonna buy Bethesda. Oops.
Clear. I just want to put this out there. The curse continues for sure. I have it on very good authority. Sony was in the bidding. They just got outbid, to be clear.
Yeah.
I have it on very good authority, actually. So, which, I mean, $7.5 billion, I can understand them irking at that price. That's, that for honest context, that puts into perspective why Microsoft didn't push for $4 billion on WB or $2 or $3 billion on Bungie. Why would you?
Man, think about this, but Microsoft's probably just been sitting on money, just waiting for something to burn. WB comes up, say, "We're for sale," and everyone's like, "All right, let's take a look at them. You want how much? And this doesn't include your IPs except Mortal Kombat? Hell no." And everyone's like, "Buy TikTok." It's like, okay, here we go. And then TikTok's like, "No, we don't want to be bought by Microsoft." And then
and then Phil goes into Satya Nadella, who, is crying on his pile of cash. "I have billions and I don't know what to spend it on.
Nobody wants my money."
We're obviously being facetious. This deal had to be months, if not years in the making, to be clear here. Like this, because, so here's something I want to put into context. and it's part of the reason why I'm not as negative on this as I usually am towards, a publisher buying a publisher, platform holders buying publishers. Microsoft is not closing the publishing wing of Bethesda. No one is losing their job. Yeah. That is also unprecedented. That doesn't happen, to be clear.
I think the reason behind that is the name. It's
Agreed.
Bethesda means something, and that's why they're keeping it that way. Because if it just comes out and says Xbox Game Studios, Machine Games, like, it doesn't mean as much as Bethesda Machine Games. Like, it just doesn't look right to them. The Bethesda thing, that's why ZeniMax changed the publishing name from ZeniMax to Bethesda. Bethesda has goodwill, and they're going to keep that name. So,
you're going to get a lot of idiots saying, see, look, it's not a Microsoft game. It says Bethesda in front of it. It's not an Xbox Game Studios. Some people can't fathom that no matter what, Bethesda means Microsoft. Microsoft bought them out. It's not a merger. It's not a partnership. I went to your house. I paid the money for your house. I own your house, and you get to keep living in it.
Honestly, Fame, on that note, it wouldn't surprise me if they do the Xbox Game Studios logo in like the boot up screen, and then they do the Bethesda logo.
I could see that.
Yep.
I'm going to just say this right now. It feels weird as hell to write in an article. id Software, part of the first-party studios of Xbox.
For real.
The weirdest thing that I never thought I'd ever write.
Do we have an Xbox studio in Dallas now? I'm so freaking happy.
No, you got two of them, right? Yeah. Because Arcane is in Texas too. Or no, they're in Austin. They're not in Dallas. Excuse me. They're in Austin.
Well, they're pretty close. I mean, it's a maybe 3-hour drive for me.
Tomato.
QuakeCon is every year. It's like QuakeCon's going to hit different this year because QuakeCon's like a 5-minute drive for me, and I go there every year, and that's going to have a completely different. It may feel the same, but it's just going to hit a lot different, knowing that this is technically a Microsoft event now.
Yeah, and not only that, but just think about this. Took buying a publisher, Phil got his Japanese studio.
That's true too. I forgot about that. Tango?
Yep,
Tango Gameworks. Yep.
Man, here's my question. What I'm thinking about. If you had to be Sony signing a deal with Bethesda knowing they're going to get bought out, like knowing they're in talks, like serious talks, so that was 3 months ago, but they did that when they announced that deal. Like, just, I can only imagine the things that are going on in boardrooms at Sony right now. Like, damn it.
Yeah, I can't hate the player. I can't hate the player because when Bethesda was signing those deals, for Deathloop and Ghostwire to be timed PS5 exclusive, they were going, yeah, timed deal. Totally. We'll absolutely do it. Can't hate the player. You can't. They got the bag both ways. I respect it, honestly.
Okay, so I've said this 1,000 times before. When it comes to people making a deal, when you're doing the deal with the devil, I can't be mad at the devil. Devil's job is to do that deal. I only get mad at whoever takes that deal. Man, the only time I've ever seen this kind of thing, or like a role reversal, has been like with Shroud and Ninja, where it's like, yeah, I'll be exclusive to Mixer. Give me a couple $1 million. Oh, Mixer's dead 6 months later? Okay, cool. I'll go right back to Twitch so I don't miss anything.
Yep.
That's the only other time I can think of where it's been like someone's done a bad deal and actually won as a result. And it's like, wow, you just got you got doubly upped. Man. Anything else before we start going into requests? I can only imagine how many requests all of us have for things for Bethesda and Microsoft to do.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Ben.
No, you good, brother. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to round up a couple of quick FAQs that are floating out there, I'll just do this real quick. Are Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo being honored? Yes, they're still going to be PS5 exclusives for like a year, 6 months, whatever they worked out. Then they'll come to Xbox after that, and they'll launch in Game Pass when they do so. Just to put that out there, Phil has made that very, very clear on CNBC. That's how big this was, to be clear. Phil went on national TV. to talk about this deal. That's how big of an acquisition is. When is it being finalized? It's being finalized in fiscal year 2021, which will be sometime in the first half of next year. Fiscal year is a little different than regular year. It is what it is. It's business. Don't try to understand it. What franchises are going exclusive and what aren't? The honest to God answer is we don't know. They're saying it's a case-by-case basis. I am strongly inclined, personally, with no evidence, to believe that it means Fallout and Elder Scrolls will probably stay multiplat, but everything else goes exclusive, including new IPs, Doom, Dishonored, whatever. That is just my opinion. I don't have proof. If someone says they know what it is, no, they don't. We're kind of in the dark here. Anyways, that's all I have to say.
And that's where I wanted to go. I wanted to see if you guys wanted to kind of hedge your bets on what stays and multiplat and what. I mean, there's a lot of games, sir, right? And stuff we don't even know about. I kind of wanted you guys to hedge your bet on what you guys believe is staying multiplat, because not everything's going exclusive. I mean, multiplat, like everyone thinks, oh, this is the Minecraft deal. No, this is 40. This is three times different than the Minecraft deal, right?
It is the Minecraft deal. The game that's already launched is on your platform. That is the only guarantee you have. They're not going to pull Fallout 76 from your thing. They're not going to pull
it. I mean, as far as going forward, because think about it. Minecraft was on PS4, but Minecraft Dungeons wasn't. But they made Minecraft Dungeons also on PS4. So some of these games are going to continue as a franchise, continue multi-platform. Some will go exclusive. I'm with Sam. If I had to hedge my bets, I would say something like Doom is staying in-house. I would say something like Elder Scrolls and Fallout would be multi-platform. I can see Starfield being exclusive.
Yep. Because it doesn't have a history at all.
Exactly. And Starfield doesn't have platforms announced currently.
Exactly.
It was just said, it's Starfield. And honestly, of the two, Fallout and Elder Scrolls, really it's Elder Scrolls. That one in particular, just Skyrim has sold like it's something absurd. I don't even want to think about how many copies it is. It's something ungodly, like over 30 million before the remaster or some craziness like that. That just feels a little too big to not continue. But that is just me. I'm not a businessman, and scorching hot take here, they don't care. If you're going to argue about which one is exclusive or not, you're missing the forest for the trees, and I am saying that to myself in addition to everyone else. The point isn't what platforms they go to. The point is these games launching Game Pass. Dishonored 3, Game Pass. The Evil Within 3, Game Pass. Wolfenstein, we're actually killing Mecha Hitler this time. Game Pass. Starfield, Game Pass. Elder Scrolls 6, Game Pass. It is a Game Pass buffer. It got buried in the news today, but Game Pass has grown to 15 million subscribers.
In 4
good
months,
number.
They 50% increase. Holy
yes,
shit.
A 50% increase in under 5 months. In like 4.5 months, something like that.
What major games came out with us, too? Like, what was it? Wasteland? I mean,
Wasteland, Grounded actually got a nice bit of attention. Microsoft Flight Simulator for PC. So if that's what that did, how much more so when an Elder Scrolls game launches in there? That's their end game. That's what they're looking at.
Yep, and that's 15.
It's funny how we always compare Obsidian. You always compare Obsidian and what they're doing, with the whole Outer Worlds and then Fallout and then Avowed and Skyrim, and now both of them are sitting across the hall from each other looking at each other like, what's up? Like, my favorite, so many good memes today, Fame and everyone, but like the best one is the "It's Always Sunny" meme, where the two are just suddenly looking at each other. My God, dude,
that's good. That one has me in stitches.
I just imagine Brian Fargo and some guy from Obsidian going over to Todd Howard and like hazing him, like, "Welcome over." New freshman, flicks his nose.
Who's got the bonus now?
85 Metacritic.
Yeah, it's.
What I'm actually most interested in out of this is there's been little things that have been said, like I wouldn't call them newsworthy exactly, but for example, one of the original founders of id, Carmack, tweeted out today that he was very much interested in maybe playing with some of his old franchises now that they were owned by Microsoft, and how basically how respective Microsoft is of creators and their IPs. For those that don't know, Carmack had a huge issue with ZeniMax as a whole, which led to him leaving id Software. So, Quake, baby, come on.
That would be my IP of choice, because I love multiplayer shooters. I would love to see them do a modern version of Quake. That would be it for me. I mean, man.
Yeah.
Did we mention? I think Sam might have brought it up. We mentioned this was a cash buyout, not stocks or
cold hard cash. This is, I don't know how else to put this. This is literally the war chest meme, except they finally took it seriously. Like that's what this is. Okay, yeah, the fifth dumpster truck full of $100 bills is rolling up about now. Like, okay, and you know what? I'm going to say something else. I might do a Twitter thread on this tomorrow. There has always been, even with their renewed focus under Phil and all the right moves he's made, there's always been this idea, somewhat understandably so, that Microsoft didn't see Xbox as a true part of its business, like, Sony sees PlayStation as a core tenet of its business. There's always been this meme, with some truth grounded in reality, that it was a side project. It's like, okay, yeah, they're doing their thing over in Redmond. With this, Microsoft is saying this is a part of our business. This is a core part of what we are doing moving forward. It's crazy. As far as, and by the way, in case anyone's saying, oh, well, what about this publisher with that publisher? I'm not for the whole retaliatory publisher thing, but nothing is off limits anymore. We are in wild times.
It's funny you mention that.
Go ahead and buy Konami. You like pachinko machines? Go right ahead.
I heard somebody say that on Twitter today, and I laughed. But it's funny that you touched on that, Sam, because I was going to ask you and ask the panel in general, like, is this a precedent now? Because obviously Sony doesn't need to retaliate because they do what they do extremely well. But do you think they will retaliate? Like, is this a precedent now with these?
I know I don't want to further the narrative because people will hear this. Oh, so you're saying Sony is broke? Sony, I don't see Sony making a move this large. There's no way they make a move this big. I can see them make a smaller move like Microsoft did with Ninja Theory.
Yeah,
but this big, hell no.
Like I could see
think people even.
I could see it Konami.
Yeah, and for context, like, there was information. This is public. They got outbid by Tencent because Tencent is a scary thing. And by the way, that's another big reason Xbox did this, is to fend off Tencent. But that's another conversation. We know Sony was trying to buy Leu Corporation, which has like 6 studios.
Oh, yeah,
they were trying to do that for almost $2 billion. They got outbid by Tencent. And like I said, I have it on very good authority. Sony was in the bidding for this. So are they going to drop nearly $8 billion on a publisher? No. Will you see Sony suddenly get a lot more aggressive? Yes. Expect Housemarque and probably Bluepoint to get snatched up very quickly.
The thing about those, Sam, which I agree those are good points, but aren't they already just making? It's almost like when Microsoft bought Playground. Like, wasn't they only doing Microsoft stuff anyway?
Sure.
Like,
sure,
but pickup. I'm not knocking the pickup, but like they were already kind of sort of non-contractually exclusive in a way.
But I don't
disagree, but remember, yeah, that's the thing. The reason Microsoft bought Playground, among the others, was Activision and EA were snooping. How much more so? Like, what happens when Activision and EA are snooping at some studios, or, like Bobby Kotick gets it through his head, like, oh, it would help to have studios doing things that aren't Call of Duty, or when Tencent comes sniffing. I don't disagree with your point, Fame. You're absolutely right. I'm saying those are the moves you'll see Sony make immediately, is the, okay, shore up defenses, pull up the drawbridge, fill the moat. We gotta hang tight here. That's the kind of thing. And I'm not saying it's a good thing. Everyone getting snatched up left and right. There is an argument to be made. It's not. But here's the fact of reality. That's where we're at. The consolidation wars have begun.
And don't think for a moment this has nothing to do with COVID. Like, COVID has wreaked havoc on people. Like, just imagine, like, all these studios. Like, I mean, normally Bethesda comes out with about 2 games a year, and they had Doom Eternal and Deathloop got delayed. And don't think the other games didn't get delayed outside of their, at least their project windows. They haven't announced it, but like their internal project estimation has got pushed back. Like it's expensive to run all these people on salary and continue this. But this is not just like this is a completely all out of nowhere. Like this was an opportunity that you see Microsoft jumping in on, and like it's not a coincidence. Anyone else who's the larger companies are going to be taking advantage of this particular moment, and this works in Microsoft's favor. But yeah, like the ridiculous rumors about like, oh yeah, Sony's gonna buy Take-Two. That's it. Like, no.
Hey, can I ask you guys a question? Was Quantum Error not already announced for Xbox?
Quantum Error?
Quantum Error. Are you talking about that new horror game for the PS5 and PS4?
Yeah,
one of the first...
I'm being tagged, and apparently a video they just put out saying it's coming to Xbox Series X now. Let me go to YouTube.
I don't recall.
Interesting. I mean, to be fair, that was always one of the ones that, like, I assumed it was a timed exclusive or whatever, but interesting.
All right, what else do you guys want to see? Nick, I gotta know. What if you get to now orchestrate Bethesda, Microsoft, and all the IPs? What game do you want to see happen?
Fallout New Vegas 2, baby. No, seriously, like get Obsidian and Bethesda in a room and go now, Kith, and
kiss and make up.
Let's make up. You guys do some things really well. You guys do other things really well now, making an absolutely groundbreaking game. Also, give id any of your FPS IPs that you have just laying around. Like, do that shit right now.
Yes.
Give Machine Games a break from Wolfenstein. Let them remake Quake like Doom 2016. I don't think people can handle a Quake in 2022, 23, whatever it came out. I need that in my life.
What if they had Quake with Chief, Marcus,
Doom
Guy?
No, I don't want to see this crossover
DJ.
stuff. And also,
Smash Bros. Now.
Yeah,
I gotta clear up
Smash Bros. Shooters.
I've got to clear something up. All these pictures of Master Chief holding the Doom Slayer.
Oh my god, hilarious!
No,
like Master Chief is the big guy in the picture. Okay. After Master Chief gets blasted into Mars as a projectile, call me. I will endlessly argue that the Doom Slayer is the dominant figure in that relationship, and I do not understand why that is so important to me right now.
I kind of agree. I kind of agree with you.
I have two things I want to see. One, Fallout New Vegas remaster. Actually, back 3 things I want to see. Fallout New Vegas remaster, where it's like, okay, we got a budget, we got everything going on here. Obsidian, you're back. Bethesda, you're back. We're all good to go. I need to see that remaster because it did not age well at all. Especially when they did the updates, the Xbox One X updates to Fallout 3. You can't go back to New Vegas because it looks really bad. They did not touch that game.
That's why you just got played on PC with the proper mods, and it looks like 4, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, but here's the other thing I want to see. I want to see an ad campaign with Chief and Doomslayer. But like have it be like stay with me here. But have it be like Chief's all about these open vistas and like high resolution and all that kind of stuff. And then you see like Doom guy slaying demons, and he's just like, yes, I'm all about 60 frames per second and high performance and gameplay.
Oh, no.
I just have to say like on one hand you have like Chief like going off like doing some space stuff, aerial maneuvers, then flipping back to Doom guy like sawing a demon in half. just go back and forth between the two of them, and then say something like oh yeah, you can sometimes you can have the best of both and have like a thing of Series S and Series X. Like just have that as a 30-second ad. Do something like that. Or other than that, in terms of an actual game, Fallout 5, Brian Fargo returns to the franchise. Obsidian's writing the story. Bethesda's making the game. all three. The perfect synthesis of the Fallout franchise, returning to roots.
I'll go.
I'm so happy I'm not wearing pants right now because I'd be seriously restricted on maneuverability.
Oh, jeez. Mine is not game-wise. I've gone on about the games I want to see on my Twitter. I added Xbox over it, so I won't do that. People who know me. Arcane stand in the building. But I will say, I want to see some tech sharing. id Tech 7. Get that thing out to all the other teams. Let them use it.
Conspiracy theory: Microsoft bought Bethesda for the in-engine to fix Halo.
I mean, like, maybe it'd make Halo good again.
Man.
But
it's not really the worst idea in the world, honestly.
I mean, like, could you imagine you walk up to a grunt and you just rip its head off?
Oh my
like
God.
that would be.
That might have give it some respect on Chief's name then.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I definitely agree with Sam. Like, share the tech. Like, I want to see the initiative do something in id Tech. I know it's not going to happen, but like that'd be cool. I could rock with that. Or things like that. Like the fact that the possibility that someone outside of id Software could be using id Tech for something is insanely exciting. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, because we kind of talked about this in our DMs earlier or not. Would id Tech technically be part of Microsoft Game Stack now, or no?
Yes, they own the technologies as well. The answer is yes.
Would that would also mean that they would acquire Bethesda? Was it the Orion Street cloud streaming technology as well? Then
yes, yeah, they own all the technologies as well.
Interesting. Layers.
Yeah, I guess I'll end what I have to say and let anyone else who wants to go. I'll say this. If you want to play Western RPGs, you better have a PC or a next-gen Xbox. I'll say that. Like, it is... Your hand has been forced at this point.
Yep. Not just that. It's Western RPGs and shooters. Like, all the best shooters, with the exception of Battlefield and Call of Duty, with the exception of those two, they're now Microsoft properties. Man.
Doom and Halo under the same roof.
Yep.
Jeez.
Doom, Halo,
Never thought I'd see it happen.
And Wolfenstein, yeah, gotta put respect on BJ.
Well, if you want even crazier, today was the first time I've seen like John Romero actively interact and talk about Doom outside of forced interviews. So that was exciting. I feel so bad because everyone's gonna think I'm the biggest Xbox fanboy ever now, but I'm literally just the biggest id Software nerd there is. And it's only going to get worse at this rate, unfortunately.
It's because you and I are Doom children, born in the year of Doom.
Yep.
But yeah, man, this was such a huge deal. Like, okay, so I'll ask this around the room here real quick because I understand we're staying longer than we normally do, and I want to kind of get an idea. So, 2 questions. First thing I want to ask you as we kind of go around the room here. Do you think Sony will respond to this, and what do you think they'll do? Specifically, not just general things like buy timed exclusives or something, but specifics. And last thing too is, where do you think Microsoft can go from here? Can or should? Either one is fine. So, who wants to start?
I can go if no one else wants to jump in first, but
okay.
So here's kind of my thing is like everyone wants, like, I've seen it already on the timeline and everything else. Everyone wants Sony to buy Take-Two, or they need to buy Square Enix, or it's not really what they're going to look to do. I think Sony's strategy is kind of all clear in the paint already. We've seen it. They have timed exclusives for Deathloop and everything else. They've got they did the exclusivity with Final Fantasy 16. I think that's a big part of their strategy. They're going heavy into the Marvel's Avengers stuff. I think we've seen what they have on their plate right now. We're going to have to wait a bit for them to specifically, if they were to quote unquote respond to this. because I don't think if we didn't see this coming, I figured they knew they were outbid. But I don't think they have something sitting in their back pocket to quote unquote directly counter this.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take some planning and some kind of what are we going to do? What's the next step conversations to happen? And in terms of what Microsoft is going to do, who the hell knows? I sat there and laughed at the idea of someone spending $2.1 billion on WB. Like, I was like, there's no way anyone's going to buy a company for that much. Like, that's Minecraft money. People don't just spend that. And then, lo and behold, Microsoft on a random Monday buys ZeniMax for $7.5 billion. Like, it's understood that they were on the block for a while. You know, there's been rumors flying around that Tencent was interested in them and everything else, but I don't know. I don't know what Microsoft's next move is after purchasing ZeniMax, because there's not a way they could top it. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, by the way, actually, Inferno brought this up to me. He had said, don't forget as well, the first announcement they made after this was they're redoing the Bethesda engine. Like, they're not doing the creation engine anymore. They're completely redoing it. It's like literally the one thing people complain about. They're just fixing it. Like, right off the bat. That's the first thing Microsoft decides to do. Yeah, fix the engine. So, all right, and next.
Like I said earlier, I don't really think Sony needs to do anything, because what they do as far as putting out their own exclusives and locking up these timed exclusivity deals, they do that really well. I don't know if they would do anything as extreme as acquiring another publisher, at least not in the immediate future. I don't know exactly how much this would cost or what it would entail. I think one that would make sense for them would be Capcom. Would be one that makes a lot of sense for them, given their relationship with the company with Street Fighter, and they show off all their Resident Evil games at Sony events and things like that. They seem to be pretty tight with one another, so I think that one would make sense for them. As far as where Microsoft goes for here, it's like Nick said, I really have no idea. What happened today was unprecedented. It's something that I certainly did not see coming. And as unlikely as it is, I remember seeing a tweet from Jack Move today where he goes something to the effect of, could you imagine if Microsoft bought EA next? And that is pretty outlandish. I get that. That is extremely unlikely. But then again, before this morning, them buying Bethesda was extremely unlikely too. So I'm not saying that it's going to happen, or I'm wanting that to happen, but I'm just saying, who knows?
Actually, now that you mention it, just speaking of Jack Move, he just tweeted out CD Projekt Red's going to be next.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I know. I hope they don't get Larian, because we're never going to hear Nick shut up. That's like it's going to be bad enough with id Software now with him. Like Larian. Oh my God, we'll never hear the end of it. Okay, so Sony responding. Here's the thing we have to keep in mind at the end of the day. Sony still has stronger market share. They have stronger word of mouth worldwide, and right now they still have a strong lineup of games. People are freaking out, over God of War, over Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man Miles Morales. I know this isn't specific, but I'm serious. In terms of general strategy, I think they stay the course and do what they're doing, but I think two changes will happen. I think they get a lot more aggressive with PlayStation Now, bringing games to it faster. And maybe even day and date for the small ones, not the big games like Dreams or Concrete Genie 2, those type and size of games. I think you see that. And then on top of that, I think like I said before in the show, you'll see them shore up by grabbing a couple of studios that they're partners with, like Housemarque, Blue Point, maybe like if it's a hit, Lucid Games, the ones doing that Weird Destruction All-Stars. That racing combat game, like I think you see them shore up with teams like that.
fair. Fame, where are you sitting on this?
Sorry, I actually had to step away for a second. I literally just got back at the end of the thing. Where are we?
How do you think Sony will respond, and / should they respond? Be as specific as possible.
They don't have to respond.
Okay.
I mean, Sony is Sony. They are a worldwide brand. They have trust in the gaming community. You got studios like Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica. They may respond. Like Sam was saying earlier, that was in the running for Bethesda and these other studios. They may respond, but technically, I mean, they don't have to. They already have the talented studios that we know and trust. Is anyone concerned about how Ragnarok's going to turn out? No. Was anyone, going to be concerned if they, for some reason make another Uncharted? No. They already got the talent. They already got the studios. Microsoft was just in the point where they needed to prove something to everyone, and they picked up a bunch of great studios, and we're still waiting to see what comes of that. But Sony doesn't have to respond to this. They likely will. I don't see them doing something this big, but they don't have to respond.
All right, fair enough. Sam, did you go?
Yeah, I went. I went.
Making sure. So I guess I'm the last one here. All right.
That's correct.
Sony, I think for them, the main thing they have to do right now is, again, like we said before, circle the wagons. Make sure, the people you've been working with for the last few years, make sure their allegiances don't stray, so to speak. Buy up the people you normally work with. Buy up Bluepoint, buy up, their regular groups. Maybe even make a pass at Bandai Namco. Maybe. But, I mean, that's the only thing I could really think about them doing, at least in that strategy. Mainly, the key thing is, I think for them, they should focus more on trying to buy IP and not trying to buy, whole studios and such. Because they have the talent in their own studios, but they don't have... they have other IPs to work with, but there are lots of dormant IPs that would get people involved, like a Silent Hill game like everyone's been talking about. But I think, Konami's just not going to do anything with it, okay? I don't even think Konami wants to make games anymore at this point. But I would not worry about trying to buy the whole studio if they're not doing anything anyway. Other than that, there's not much I think really say for Sony to do. For Microsoft, all I can really say is release dates. We need to know what projects there are and when they're coming out. Because I need to see by the beginning of next year. Okay, here's what we got coming out the whole next year. We could all be excited a year in advance. When they do the XO event that they've been trying to do recently, I need to see okay, here's our game plan for the rest of the year. Here's this game. Here's this game. I know what I'm getting with Game Pass. Because right now, this is the first real year of Game Pass for people. Game Pass has been around, but this is where all not early adopters, all the newest people are going to jump on board, and they need to see what the plan is. That it's not just, oh yeah, my favorite game's on here and now it's gone. What's coming else after that? I think right now it's all about release dates. That's kind of where I sit. Other than that, I think we're good to go. So we'll do our outros real quick. And let me know if you're going to pre-order a Series X tomorrow or an S. So, Fame, we're ready for the outros.
I am not going to fight somebody or stress myself. If there is a Xbox at my 3 local GameStops, I will pre-order the Series S. I don't need the X because I'm building a PC. So yes, I will be doing that. And then, yeah, it was a great show. Lots of great topics. It was good to be back on my boys. Y'all killing me for not being on the Avengers right now. Y'all breaking my heart. I'm gonna need one of y'all to hop on the play.
I'm with you. I'm with you, man.
Let's do it, bro. Please.
I'll wait for Game Pass.
Week. Let's do it, bro. And then, if you guys can check out Double XP Podcast this Wednesday, we will have on the one and only Miss Click. It's going to be one heck of a show, and I'm thankful for her for coming on and and chatting with us. No, we getting up there a little bit. You know, getting the name this big on the podcast. I'm super excited for. But yeah, that was been a great show, man.
All right, Nick.
Oh, was I disconnected?
Nope.
No, you're good. You're good. I still hear you.
You got like awkwardly quiet.
Yeah, I know it happens.
Hello?
It happens.
Yeah, no, I was waiting for Nick because I assume he's too high.
No, I am not too high. I'm Nicholas Allen. You can find me on Twitter at Undead3XVI. You can find all my written work at lordsofgaming.net. And I've got some spicy stuff that we've got to talk about over the next few days. We've got to talk about PlayStation PC stuff. We've got to talk about what this Bethesda stuff means going forward. And we got to talk about what Western RPGs are going to shape up next generation. So lots of stuff dropping this week. And I don't sleep. So let's go.
Oh, and also be sure to check out Gaming Perspective. They had their show back last Saturday. It's over at Gaming Perspective on YouTube, and where you can find other podcasts as well. I was on there last week. It was an absolute blast. I hope to return at some point in the future. And Mike?
All right, guys, you can check me out on Twitter at The Truth of Mike P. You can check out my opinion pieces on Level 1 Gaming at lv1gaming.com. And I will be going tomorrow to pre-order a Series X. I'm going after work, so I hope they still have pre-orders available at my local GameStops. But
good luck.
We'll see.
May the force be with you, man. May the force be with you. All right, Sam.
Yes, I'm Samuel Talbert. You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Talbert. That's TOLBERT. You can find me writing away on Windows Central, Android Central, and iMore, because the 2020 train don't stop, baby. Everything we've had this year, we got over 3 months to go. You have no idea how wild this world could get. Let's get crazy. I've been affected, in case you can't tell here. It's getting to me. And I am definitely trying to pre-order a Series X tomorrow. I'm going to be hitting multiple pages at the same time. Wish me luck.
All right. And I'm Anchorman V2, Ivan Seiler. I am going in person to GameStop for the last time before GameStop goes out of business. So I figured I'd do nothing. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to be there around 10 Eastern time. So I'm going to go over there and do that. So, and if I can't get in there an hour early on a Tuesday, it wasn't meant to be yet. So anyway, so that's it. That's our show. Thank you guys for showing up. And this has been the Multiverse Show, greatest show on Mondays. We'll see you guys later.